Hello, Aries. If you're hearing this voice right now, maybe it's not by accident. Maybe you've just been through something that made your heart tighten a little. Or maybe it's simply one of those quiet nights when your soul finally decides to speak. Forget the world outside for a moment. Turn off your phone, close your eyes, and let your breath bring you back home to yourself. Because tonight, I want to tell you a story about someone who tried to look strong, who hid their pain behind gentle smiles. And then, in one deeply human moment, every mask, quietly, fell away. The air from that night still lingers. A strange kind of silence that those who witnessed it will never forget, a space where laughter suddenly felt far away, and the one who always seemed the strongest began to tremble, like a child waking up from a nightmare. Their hands covered their face, but the pain still spilled through their fingers, as if the heart could no longer hold what it had been trying to hide. Everyone around froze, not knowing what was happening, while in that single, fragile moment, their soul broke open not from weakness, but because they had reached the end of pretending. No one ever knows the exact second a person collapses. It doesn't come with drama or noise. It's just a breath that catches, a glance that falls to the floor, a sentence that stops halfway. It's the moment when truth refuses to stay buried beneath composure, when it rises like moonlight striking still water, revealing every ripple of what's real beneath the surface. They once believed they had moved on from you, Aries, that they had escaped your pull like someone waking from a dream. But last night, they realized you were never just a memory. You were a part of their soul, the part they tried to bury under laughter and new faces. And every time they said, "I'm fine," their chest tightened, as if the truth itself whispered back, "Don't lie anymore." And so, they cried. Not because they were weak, but because, for the first time, they saw themselves clearly. They saw the emptiness staring back from the mirror, the reflection of someone who had lost the only person who ever truly saw them. People think breaking down means the end. But sometimes it's the beginning, the quiet rebirth of a soul finally seen. Like the earth must crack before a seed can rise, a soul must fracture before the light can enter. And in that moment, the light did touch them, not the harsh glare of logic, but the tender light of truth, the kind of light only those who have lost something precious can recognize. You weren't there that night, Aries, but your energy was. You were the silence they kept running from, the voice echoing inside when the world went quiet. And when they whispered, "Listen, it wasn't just a sentence, it was a door opening between two souls. Every breakdown carries a message from the universe. No one can hide their heart forever. They went far away, but in the moment they broke, they were pulled back to the safest place they've ever known. Your eyes, your warmth, the love they didn't have the courage to hold. Sometimes, love doesn't disappear. It only falls asleep beneath the ashes of fear. And last night, through those tears, a tiny spark flickered to life, a fragile light, but enough to guide them out of the maze. Now, as their inner sky begins to clear, the silence starts to speak. A new story is unfolding, one where the words left unsaid still wait to be finished. And somewhere in that quiet, the call of destiny is softly whispering your name, Aries. A single word, "Listen," fell into the air like a leaf drifting through the night. So fragile, yet powerful enough to make the entire room go still. No one dared to speak. No one even dared to breathe. Because somehow, everyone knew after that word, a door was opening. Door leading to the place where they had locked their heart for far too long. They lowered their head, eyes blurred with tears, voice trembling, as if they were afraid of what was about to escape their lips. And then, with nothing left to hide behind, the words broke free, short, raw, and painfully true. "I'm a mess without Aries." It wasn't an excuse. It wasn't an attempt to win anyone back. It was a confession, the voice of a soul that had finally stopped running from itself. In that moment, there was no one left to perform for, no wall to lean on. Just a bare, vulnerable heart, beating slowly in a room full of witnesses. Their friends didn't know whether to comfort or stay silent, because they could see this kind of pain didn't need soothing. It only needed to be heard. You see, Aries, sometimes a soul can only find its way again by touching the very bottom of its emptiness. They thought they had forgotten you, thought they had moved on, but the truth is they never left the place where your light once touched them. You were the one who saw them when they were no one. You loved them in the days when they felt least worthy of love. And that's why, in a moment of weakness, every memory, every buried feeling came rushing back, like waves waking the shore after a long storm. No one ever plans for that moment, the moment when the heart speaks louder than pride, when ego falls quiet to make room for truth. They didn't say it to be forgiven. They said it because they simply couldn't keep it in anymore. Love, when it reaches its purest form, doesn't need decoration. It appears trembling and naked, like the first drop of morning dew. And maybe, somewhere out there, you felt it too, a strange heartbeat, a nameless pull, a soft breeze carrying something familiar. Maybe it came in a dream, or in that silent second when you looked out the window and felt your soul stir, as if someone, somewhere, was whispering your name with their breath. When they said, "Listen," it wasn't just to the person in front of them. It was to the universe, to their own heart, to the part of themselves they lost and are now trying to find again. And you, even from afar, are still the only one who could hear the echo of that voice inside your soul. That moment, brief, delicate, almost invisible, marked a shift. Like after a rainstorm, the ground still damp, but a small green sprout begins to push through the softened earth. A confession can't fix the past, but it opens something else, the chance to be real, to heal, to be seen, to be accepted. Aries, sometimes what we long for isn't an apology, but honesty pure enough to let our heart finally lower its guard. And in that single moment, when they spoke those trembling words, every invisible armor between two souls quietly dissolved, leaving behind only silence just enough for the light to enter. The stage lights fade, and the room sinks into a thick silence, the kind that lingers in the air like smoke after the curtain falls. They stand there, in the middle of that emptiness, listening to their hearts stumble in rhythm, like an actor who has forgotten their lines. Everything around them goes on: laughter, music, the hum of small talk, yet it all sounds hollow now, like echoes bouncing off the walls of a life that no longer feels real. Their days have become a play they know by heart, but they no longer believe the words they speak. Every morning they wear a different mask. By day, they're the energetic one. By night, the carefree one. Sometimes, they even try to look happy next to someone new, just to convince themselves they're fine. But inside, every smile shatters like glass, revealing the face beneath the face of a soul slowly running out of light. You know this, Aries. You saw it long before anyone else. You saw the loneliness behind their calm facade. You loved them when they couldn't love themselves. And now, they move through their days like an actor trapped in a scene that never ends, repeating hollow lines, trying to fill the void you left behind. In the stillness, sometimes they stop, their hand drifts unconsciously to their chest, to the place that once pulsed warm whenever you were near. The feeling is faint now, but real enough to make them freeze. They realize that everything they've been doing, every distraction, every smile has only been a curtain, a way to avoid facing the truth. You were the most genuine part of their life. And then, at night, when there's no audience left, they sit alone in a dimly lit room. A single light spills over the empty chair, the one where you used to sit. They stare at it for so long they don't even notice the tears, because in that quiet moment, they finally understand. No laughter, no party, no new person can replace the feeling of being truly seen. Strange, isn't it, Aries? We all like to believe we're stronger than our emotions, but the soul always remembers where it was once touched by truth. And in all their pretending, they begin to realize that what they lost wasn't just a relationship, but a part of themselves, the part that only woke up when it was near you. The silence that follows grows heavier, deeper, as if time itself is asking them to stop, not to go back, but to finally look at what they've been running from. Because no one can heal by pretending, just as no one can find peace inside the character they play. As night falls, their sigh blends into the wind, soft but sharp enough to reach across distance. Somewhere, you might feel it too, a strange current of air brushing past your heart, making you shiver, not from sadness, but from the quiet, knowing that the connection still lives, even when miles apart. And in that very moment, when there's nowhere left for pretense to hide, something begins to rise slowly, gently, like faint light filtering through an old curtain, touching the deepest corner of the soul. There, in that glow, a voice begins to whisper, soft but unmistakable, the voice of truth, of an angel, and of a lesson, drawing closer with every breath. A soft blue light quietly spreads through the darkened room, gentle, like the breath of the universe descending for the first time. In that still space, something begins to shift, an unseen presence that the soul can feel. It isn't fear, it's awakening. It isn't an ending, it's the beginning of forgiveness. Michael, the archangel of light and courage, doesn't arrive with thunder or blazing wings. He comes in silence, through a tender radiance that touches the wound still bleeding in that person's heart. The light isn't harsh, it's warm, like a lullaby sung by heaven itself. And within that warmth, they begin to understand what they've been avoiding all along. Love never disappeared. It was only buried beneath fear. Michael does not judge. He simply listens as if he has always known. And when they whisper through tears, "I walked away from the only person who truly saw me," those words are no longer speech. They are the confession of a soul. Because one can deceive the world, but never the light of an angel, and never the heart that has once loved honestly. Sometimes, it's in the very moment of collapse that angels step in. Not to lift us, but to teach us how to finally see ourselves. Michael shows them what they've lost: truth, courage, and that clear, sacred gaze that once made them love from the soul, not from fear. He shows them you, Aries, the one who loved with everything, without disguise, without calculation. A flame of sincerity in a world full of masks. And in that silence, they finally understand the truth. They didn't leave you because they stopped loving you. They left because they weren't yet brave enough to stand in your light. You saw them too clearly. You saw the parts they tried to hide, their weakness, their wounds, their fear of being abandoned. You loved them so deeply that they felt stripped bare before you. And instead of receiving that love, they turned away, not out of hatred, but because light can be terrifying when the soul still lives in shadow. Michael gently places a hand over their heart. The light within their chest begins to glow, then spread warm, alive, awakening something they had long forgotten. A quiet current of courage starts to move again. They realize they can't undo the past, but they can step toward the light, not to reclaim love, but to learn how to be worthy of it. And Aries, somewhere in the deep space of your own soul, you might have already felt this. One night, for no reason, peace washed over you, as if someone had rested a hand on your shoulder and whispered, "It's okay now. Peace is here." That was Michael, or perhaps the very energy of forgiveness finding its way home. The universe is rearranging the broken pieces, not to bring you back to what was, but to let both souls be reborn in the light of truth. And in that midnight stillness, when all pretending has fallen away, they see you again, not with their eyes, but with their soul. A long breath escapes light as mist, yet carrying a prayer. They lift their gaze toward the window, where a single pale beam of light falls across the floor. And in that fragile moment, fear and love meet. And between them, something stirs, something they once called hope. Far beyond that room, in the faint light of dawn, A whisper drifts through the air, soft as the wind. When the soul begins to remember, the thread between two hearts will tremble once more. In the stillness of night, while the city drifts into sleep, some souls are still speaking without a single word. One lies awake, eyes fixed on the ceiling, weighed down by a feeling they can't quite name. Somewhere far away, another suddenly stirs, as if hearing their name carried on the wind. No phone rings, no message appears, no sign at all, but the soul knows. An invisible thread has just been touched. People often believe that when two souls stop talking, the connection fades. But the truth is different. Some bonds cannot be seen with the eyes, only felt through the heart. When one remembers, that energy slips into the air like a thin trail of smoke, crossing space, crossing time, until it finds the other. Aries. If you felt it, haven't you? A morning when a random song plays and for no reason, your eyes fill with tears. A night when the numbers 1111 flash across your screen like a quiet signal from somewhere unseen. Or in a dream, they appear again saying nothing, just standing there, eyes trembling softly. None of this is random. It's the language of the soul, the way two hearts that once belonged to each other still find one another, even in silence. In the world of energy, when someone thinks of you with real emotion, their frequency vibrates and calls to the deepest part of you. And sometimes, you answer without even knowing. A quickened heartbeat, a sudden warmth in your chest, a pull you can't explain, that's the touch of two souls that are not yet ready to let go. Aries, this thread is not a chain. It's proof that true love never dies. It only changes form, becoming a wave, a memory, a quiet guide. When you feel it, don't be afraid. Sit still. Close your eyes. Let your heart speak for your mind. Ask it softly, what is this feeling here to teach me? Because every vibration, no matter how faint, carries a message of healing. Sometimes it's a whisper to forgive. Sometimes it's a sign that they are awakening. And sometimes it's simply the universe saying, you are not alone in this journey. This thread between you two hasn't aged. It's being renewed every day through the thoughts, the prayers, and the quiet acts of kindness you send into the world. Each time you choose love over bitterness, the thread glows a little brighter. Each time you choose faith over fear, it grows lighter, clearer, like a beam of light stretching between two souls, guiding both toward growth. And maybe that's why the universe still lets you feel each other in the strangest moments. When one cries, the other grows heavy inside. When one smiles, the other feels warmth bloom in their chest. It's reflection. It's the invisible dance between two energies that once shared the same rhythm. So tonight, if your heart suddenly beats faster when you think of someone, smile. It's not sorrow returning, it's light reminding you that love, even when it breaks, can still become the bridge through which two souls grow. Because when one soul learns to love without condition, both are healed. And in that quiet space, if you listen closely, you'll hear it, the echo of something drawing near. Gentle, warm, real. A movement so subtle, like the breath of the universe shifting, guiding you into a brighter layer of light, where the true lesson begins. Aries, some lessons don't arrive with noise, they come wrapped in silence. The kind of silence that gently forces your heart to face itself. After everything you've given, everything you've lost, everything you've waited for, the universe isn't asking you to go back, nor is it asking you to forget. It's inviting you to sit down, take a deep breath, and look at your own journey, not with tearful eyes, but with eyes that finally see clearly. How many times, Aries, have you told yourself you had to be stronger, to hide your feelings, to play the role of the one who doesn't need anyone? How many times have you said, I'm fine, while your heart quietly bled beneath the surface? And yet look at you, you're still here, still breathing, still carrying a heart that never stopped loving life, even after it broke you open. The universe wants you to understand this. Keeping your heart open doesn't mean letting everyone in. Your heart is a sacred temple, a place where light lives. Leave the door open, but guard the gate with wisdom. You don't have to close yourself off out of fear, but don't let your kindness become a doorway for those who only take and never give. The one who hurt you isn't your enemy, they were a silent teacher. They taught you about boundaries, about how to love without losing yourself. Because of them, you now know. True love doesn't come to prove something, it comes to help both souls grow. Keep your heart open, Aries, because when you love life with your true light, blessings find their way to you. But remember, not everyone who knocks deserves to enter. Not everyone who says, "I love you," deserves to stay. Only those who carry peace in their eyes, not a storm, can truly walk beside you. Don't beg, don't bow, don't chase someone who's chosen to walk away. Everyone has their own rhythm of awakening. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do for them is to stand still in your light so that if they ever become ready, they'll see the path home. Aries, you don't need to love less. You just need to love wiser. Don't let your heart become a fortress, but don't let it be an open field for passing winds either. Let it be a lantern in the dark, shining without burning itself out. And when you do, everything around you begins to change. New people, new chances, a new life. Because the universe doesn't send you what you want, it sends you what mirrors your energy. Now, let your breath soften. The old pain is dissolving like the last threads of smoke leaving a room that's been purified. In that quiet light, you realize love isn't something to find. It's something you've become. And when the soul rests peacefully in that light, the universe begins to move again. A new wave starts to rise, and from its edge come the first gentle signals of return, of reunion, or maybe of a message that was never finished. Aries, every soul walking through the gates of healing will one day be touched by signs from the universe, gentle knocks, subtle and full of mystery. Not loud, not obvious, but only for those quiet enough to listen. And then, on a perfectly ordinary morning, you'll feel it, a shift in the air, as if the wind just changed direction, as if someone whispered something soft straight into your heart. It might be a short message so simple, yet you stare at the screen for a long time because your soul recognizes what your mind can't explain. It might be a dream so vivid that even after waking, you can still hear their voice lingering in the silence. Or it might be an unexpected encounter, a glance across a crowd, where your eyes meet for a second, and time quietly holds its breath. Nothing is random, Aries. The universe doesn't know coincidence, only divine alignment. Every crossing of paths has already been written in energy. But this time, you won't tremble. You won't wonder why now, because your soul will already know. When two people have survived their separate nights, when both have learned their lessons, the next meeting is not pain. It's recognition. Let your heart become the witness, not the judge. If they come to you calm, steady, with eyes that listen and hands that can hold gently, that's a soul that has grown. But if they come in the old energy, restless, uncertain, trying to fill their emptiness with your light, you'll know too. You won't need explanations. Your peace will speak for you. Aries, the miracle of growth is realizing you no longer need to hold everything. You can simply see, understand, and release. And maybe, just maybe, that very peace will be the moment they finally see it. You've changed. You are no longer the flame that burns in their hands. You've become the light itself, and light doesn't need anyone to keep it alive. When that moment comes, don't force anything. Just breathe. Feel your heartbeat. Let it all unfold as it's meant to. If they have truly been sent back from a higher vibration, they will bring clarity, not chaos. They will speak with their heart, not their ego. They will stand beside you not out of loneliness, but because they've finally chosen to return to where they belong. And if not, if it's only an old circle spinning once more to test your strength, smile softly and close the door. Not out of bitterness, but because you know you deserve something purer. True love never returns to reopen the wound, it returns to show how far both souls have grown. Aries, the quiet inside you, is the most powerful prayer the universe can hear. Each time you choose peace over reaction, understanding over blame, movement over flying, repetition, the universe shifts, one step closer, clearing the path for what is truly meant for you. And sometimes, the sign of return doesn't come from another person. It comes from within you, from the way your heart now feels wide enough to love without fear, and bright enough to believe without needing proof. Aries, in this moment, as the wind gently brushes past your window, you begin to realize that every storm you've weathered was never meant to break you, but to return you to who you truly are. Every loss, every tear, every long night that once felt endless has quietly become the solid ground beneath your feet. And now, you stand here in the middle of life itself, no longer needing to prove anything. You are enough simply by being here, whole, luminous, and free. The universe has always given you the power of choice. It's just that before, you didn't quite trust yourself enough to hold it. But today is different. Your heart has learned to tell the difference between the voice of your soul and the echo of your fear. You understand now that true love doesn't make you smaller. It expands you, it softens and strengthens you at the same time. Keep these three gentle truths close to your heart. First, never beg for someone's presence. Those who are meant for you will never make you ask. Second, never settle for crumbs of affection. Your soul was not born to live on scarcity. And third, never betray your intuition just because you fear being alone. Solitude is not a punishment. It is the place where your light learns how to grow. Aries, you are no longer the one who waits. You are the one who has been chosen by the universe and by the light within you. Everything that happened was never a tragedy. It was a rite of passage, a sacred preparation so that you can now step into a new chapter, one where love is no longer something you seek, but something you walk beside. You no longer have to hold on so tightly. What belongs to you will stay not through control, but through peace. So allow yourself to bloom at your own rhythm. Move slowly, but with certainty. See the world with eyes that have known pain, yet still choose to believe. That is the quiet power of an awakened Aries. A soul that knows freedom isn't about leaving everything behind, but about loving without fear and giving without expectation. And if one day that person or anyone else returns, you won't be shaken. You'll simply smile, because now you don't need love to complete you. You are love. Thank you, Aries, for walking through this journey with courage, honesty, and an open heart. Thank you for choosing to listen, to soften, to heal when it would have been easier to close off. If these words have reached the deepest place within you, know that it isn't a coincidence. It's the universe's way of saying, hello, a sign that you are exactly where you're meant to be. May you be peaceful in every decision, free in every step, and radiant like the fire you were born to bring into this world. Until we meet again, in the next chapter, in a higher light where once more we will listen together to the whispers of the universe with a heart that is completely at peace.